Hey guys, it's Mathel here once again giving you an update on the Gladiator Wander slash Wandiator, and I'd say at this point it's probably the most successful Wander I've ever made, which might be a bit unfair given that the state of power creep and all that means that just about every character you make nowadays should be better than characters in past days, but that said, I do still think it's like the most well-rounded Wander I've had, simply because it's very solid on DPS, especially for Endgame, which has been pretty damn rare for a Wander of mine to have without blowing the budget way out of proportion, whilst still maintaining some really good defense. In the end, the character's reaching something like 5,800 life, with 3 endurance charges, 10 reduced damage, perma-fortify, pretty much, and some good utility from attack speed, movement speed, dodging, dashing, all that kind of shit, and then still being able to blow shit up instantly, and a lot of that is coming from the bleed explosions. I wasn't too sure how much the bleed explosions were doing as far as work was concerned in the clear, but once we get into tougher and tougher content like my depth 500 plus delve, some of these tougher legions and tougher sort of T16 maps, you can really actually see the bleed explosions just doing so much work because a lot of the time a pack will have almost nothing die and then one monster dies and the entire pack dies. Or likewise, there was a situation where I was doing a pure breach stone, and against the boss, it wasn't dying too quickly, but with the ads spawning and then the bleed pops going off, it meant that the boss would just take a big 50% hit. But it can mostly be seen throughout Delve, especially in the deeper depths, and then as soon as Legion pops out, there's like 5 or 6 of these rares stacked up next to each other. One just dying or a few of the monsters around them dying will blow up the entire pack. So Gladiator and the entire bleed explosion decision for a Wander I think has actually worked out really nicely, because without that, Kinetic Blast just isn't the same sort of area clear that it once was, especially against the walls, since there were a few little nerfs here or there to the overlapping mechanic of it. You can see here in my 500 plus depth, there are some pretty tough situations going on down here, and it definitely can get a bit hairy, but for the most part you can see that the bleed pops are the ones killing everything, and as well as that, they leave absolutely no corpses behind. I had to take off the Celestial MTX after a while because throughout the tougher depths, the things that have really rough map mods like Phys reduction, extra life, crit reduction, all that sort of shit, the Celestial MTX was just pure cancer because I was firing off so many Kinetic Blast projectiles and just destroying the ground with splooge, and I couldn't really tell what was going on anymore. So for my deepest depths, I had to take off the microtransaction, and this is just what Kinetic Blast looks like nowadays, which still does feel very nice with the bleed explosions, and gives it more of a sort of physical nuke feel in any case. So it's actually kind of nice even without the microtransaction. Did do a couple of Uber Itziri runs as well, and this character just destroys Uber Itziri trash, like the bleed pops carry, and you can do them all from a very vast distance, and pretty damn fast overall to go from shield charging and with good movement speed from pack to pack. And then the bosses themselves you're pretty durable against while still maintaining some very solid DPS. So for Uber Itziri, it's not the biggest challenge anymore, but it is a very smooth, clear for that type of content, and overall I just really don't have many complaints about the character, the way it functioned with the Barrage Kinetic Blast playstyle and then pure Phys, which is something I never really thought would be super viable as a wanding alternative, but with the way recent changes have come through, definitely an option to look into. The boss endgame single target, I honestly did not expect it to be this good. I thought I'd hit about 2 million deeps overall, but I hit 2 million without the impale effect even, and the bosses were actually dying rather quickly, which is just surprising to me. I thought it would take a little bit longer and be a little bit more stressful. And then at the same time, I can take a few hits from these guys, and throughout the endgame content, I wasn't dying to the bosses at all. The only stuff I really died to in past, let's say, mapping, once we got the character well truly geared, was Maraketh one-shots in tier 16s. That still did happen. For the most part, it wasn't happening, but every now and again there was a big old chunky one-shot that just left me saying, what? And not really knowing what happened. But that's Legion, that's Maraketh, I guess. In any case, there are a couple of changes I want to go over before dropping the Uber Elder video to the character, so let's get through them. So just real quick, there isn't too much to say, but I did adjust my auras a little and finalized a few of the gems and all that, and the character is a complete setup at this point. Just wanted to go over the little changes I made. So I did slot in Pride into my overall setup, as you can see here. I'm not 100% sold on using it, but once I got a watcher's eye for it, that's when it definitely made sense, because Herald of Purity is actually pretty damn good for this entire setup. By itself, it's pretty competitive with Pride. Once the damage starts to stack from Pride, then it's definitely better, and if you can get a watcher's eye, then it's definitely going to be much more worth doing. So I grabbed one that has 12% chance to deal double damage while using Pride. Before that, I did actually get one with Intimidate on hit. And the Intimidate on hit one, if you don't currently have any Intimidate, should also be worth using. But you got this one, or you got the Impale one, which is the best one you can possibly have. But this one here is pretty good value for money, because wanding jewels in general aren't very strong. They're not going to add that much DPS to your build, whereas 12% from a jewel is pretty solid. So we got Pride, and then Dread Banner, Precision, and Flesh and Stone as all of our reservations there. And then I also went ahead and divined a few lethal prides, because I was really trying to get that Intimidate on hit happening, since if you can get Intimidate on hit, it's worth 10% damage to your build, and that's going to be better than just about any other jewel. So we did end up getting it, and it rolled onto this Frenzy, so I had to spec 2 points into a Frenzy, which isn't a big deal because they are up most of the time, and then I do try and keep them up during bosses as well. But this one ended up being pretty good because it also rolled 20 Phys, 20 Phys, and 5% double damage. So I ended up speccing into all of this here to make it worthwhile, and this is a Lethal Pride 13406 Racchiata if you need to know. There was a lot of fine-tuning with the passive tree in the end, just making sure I got everything I wanted. I did end up getting Master of Force and dropping the Projectile Pierce over here in favor of just using Pierce for my Kinetic Blast. You don't really need Pierce to attach to your Barrage. It would be nice. It's good quality of life, but it's definitely not necessary, so we just put Pierce up here and then went with Master of Force. So in the end I do have something like 16% double damage, and then on top of that the 15% chance while focused. So it's over 30% while focused, and it is pretty impactful. Once I got all of these sorts of little fine-tunements happening, I noticed a pretty substantial increase overall in my character's output in the higher tier maps. Some of this stuff like this is pretty questionable. If you're really lacking on accuracy, then taking these three is going to be better, but the build itself doesn't have that much percent damage, so percent damage is pretty damn solid. And then aside from that, not sure I really changed anything else. I have just played around with a few little gem links here or there. Barrage has Energy Leech, which should be up most of the time if you have Blood Rage on, so that you're actually trying to leech energy. And aside from that, I've just put in Frenzy and Power Charge on crit over here. I basically never use that. I've always got my Stone Golem out, but when I'm going against Uber Elder, for example, or some of the Guardians, that sort of thing, I do put Frenzy on my left click, and I charge up Frenzy and Power Charge on crit before I start the boss fights, because it's pretty damn worth having 4 Frenzies up, especially with our Gladiator Ascendancy giving us another 10% more. So Frenzies to me are worth 22.6 something percent more, 26% more when I've got 4 of them up. So it's pretty damn worth getting those up and having it on your left click, but I don't really map with that because it's pretty damn annoying. Besides that, got Summon Stone Golem, Blood Rage, Precision down here, did link up Flesh and Stone, Dread Banner, Pride, and Enlighten, and then the Flame Dash, Frenzy, whatever, set up over there. Lastly, I did try and attach Rage to my shield charge instead of faster attacks. My shield charge is very fast already, so there's no real need for faster attacks. The rage itself barely ever gets up, but it's better than nothing, so I figured I'll attach it to the shield charge in any case. The POB is now changed ever so slightly to actually incorporate my jewels. The Watcher's Eye doesn't work, so I just slapped on 12% double damage to simulate that, but still it's showing you the Pride version. And then this is roughly what my Lethal Pride is doing, and then as well as that I ticked Intimidate. But yeah, about 2.5 million barrage while focused, which is usually whenever we're going in for the burst, and then that's not at all factoring in Impale, so we do actually have quite a bit more than that. That's the character though. I will leave you with a very smooth and deathless Uber Elder kill, and like I said, probably the best Wander I've played thus far, and Gladiator Wander, something to look into. Wouldn't do it as a starter though, you probably need a little bit of gear, and leveling is a bit tough without leveling gear. Thank you very much for watching, and see you next time. I think this is going to be tough. Just, I don't have the playstyle locked down with the left clicks and the R's. That's my real problem. So I'm gonna like have to do it kind of slowly, methodically. Can't just balls it in. Okay, so let's start by doing... Established. Lead pops are alright here. You really need the DPS to be able to like one-phase them. Otherwise you just get so far behind, I think. With a Wanding or a Barrage playstyle or some shit. Oh shit. I need this 10x sale so bad. Okay. Yes, he didn't tell me to go fuck myself. Wait, I don't get it. Wasn't Shaper going in for a slam, and then all of a sudden he's doing a beam? What's going on? Quick while it's still hot. And it's better than the last double determination, but still fucking terrible. Fuck. What stupid fucking asshole gets 2 double determination jewels in a row?